Hi, I'm Jimmy Anti.
I'm Dagan Michelle.
And this is Dagan and Jimmy are in the green room. Today, immediately right off the bat, I'm just going to introduce our special guest from season 14 of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Hunter Biden.
All the way from Sherwood Village Apartments.
Ooh, baby, Sherwood
All the way
Village.
from
The house that got robbed on Kansas Expressway.
Right. The Outland Ballroom. Martha's Vineyard.
Sherwood before the move. And there's a Polaroid of all of us on that wall.
And then they moved 3 floors down. Anyway, it's Daya Betty, everybody. Sorry, we started going before we even said who you were.
We opened like a whole Springfield time capsule.
Which is what we're going to do today.
Yes, it's
How
giving
are you
Crossroads.
feeling, first of all? Let's check in.
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling calm, cool, collected. Feeling booked and busy.
Okay, well, I love that for you.
Yes,
Period.
yes. And I'm happy to be here with you guys today.
I'm glad Daya, we see very little of you. We moved to the same city that you're in, but we still see as much as you as we saw when we lived in Springfield still. Because you're so busy and you're going a million places. But this weekend, we've actually had a little bit of time to hang out. Yeah. So if you're watching the video version of this podcast.
Hey, we made t-shirts.
We got our nails done.
Thank you, V-Nails, over here.
Right now, over there.
Yeah, over there.
And then we also decided that we were going to do this podcast together and we were going to make t-shirts for it. Okay. So, this is mine. It is a custom-made hater black tank top.
I'm just...
Can I ask what the vision was for the rhinestones?
Yeah. So...
I see sad faces on Jimmy.
So it was getting pretty late, right?
Right.
And then I put this rhinestone on and I was going to do like a design under the hater.
What kind of design?
Just like a starburst design.
Okay.
Like they're more condensed towards the middle and they go out. And the further we got, the more that we used the Ticonderoga pencils to place our stones, and the more that
What'd you call me?
the glue was all over the shirt. I said, this is never going to be cute. So I just slapped the stones on. But I think it really... It like represents
the effect
our
is
topic
there.
today.
Right.
Like from far away, like if
Right.
I put a little blur on it.
It definitely says hater.
Put a Kira filter on. It'll be great.
Right.
Speaking of...
Tell us about yours.
Okay, well, #gay because, I am. Today.
Oh my God, wait,
I am
is this
today.
you coming out?
Yeah.
On our podcast?
I've never done it officially, so
Right.
I'm officially
They
coming
already
out
knew.
as gay.
Let's be honest. My mom looked at me and was like, you're a who's actually a
God.
That'll go on the Patreon. Never mind. Okay, your shirt. Gay. #gay.
Yeah, mine just says gay. I did sprinkle some actual good Amazon rhinestones in there, not just the Michaels.
Swarovski.
Yeah, so it gives a little pop. I definitely thought it was much higher. This is the reason mine is so low. It's because I didn't buy a bunch of new tank tops for this project. I was like, I'm just going to have one from my closet because I wear these like when I,
She went from a 2XL to a large, so round of applause.
But anywho, I put it on and it was already stretched out enough.
Use recycle.
So it's down like almost to my belly button, but
With age, you'll fill it out.
Yeah, and then Dagan, yours is really self-explanatory.
Yeah, so to circle back from Jimmy's messy t-shirt, mine actually says messy, and
it is
I don't
messy.
even know what happened. I really just started throwing paint all over it. Did get paint on your IKEA
Okay, but
table a few
yours has
times.
pink. Ours is Jimmy and I's is just like silver and white, and yours has a pop of color.
Some people are refined.
Yeah,
tasteful,
well, I
and
mean,
other people-
girl, we changed ideas 8 times on that Michaels. We don't even have to go through it. The googly eyes were bought. Spray paint was bought.
Changed her mind. Literally on every aisle we turned on, she changed her mind, which reminded me of what you used to be like.
It reminded me of her on season 14.
Well, Daya changed her number, like her song in the group chat. Oh yeah.
It'd be an hour before the show, and she'd be like, hey, so I know I was going to do Started.
For every show we would always do together, we always had to send in our tracks, like preferably, 2 days before the show?
Yeah.
Just so we all had an idea and we didn't overlap, because we liked to perform we overlapped song choices a lot.
And sometimes we would send in immbeately the second the group chat was started because
we
it was
knew
a
what we were
specific
doing.
theme and everybody wanted certain music.
Yep.
And you know who would get pissed the most if you took their song? Lux.
Lux.
Queen.
Oh my
Lux.
God.
Lux.
I remember one year for
Nico,
Christmas.
Okay.
We did that Christmas party at that pub. It was a Christmas theme thing. And
Yeah.
I'm not great with themes. For people that don't know this, we would have themes for every show we did. And the theme could be like fairy tales, and I would show up in like a black leather motorcycle jacket. Like it wouldn't make sense at all. Like,
But it worked.
it was just funny because I remember this particular theme. I was like, I have to do something
Okay,
holiday
I'm going to take that back. It
inspired.
didn't always work.
It didn't always work.
But you had to do Christmas at this.
But I had to do Christmas, and
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, I don't really like Christmas music. I'm not like a holiday person, really. So I knew that song by Slater, All I Want for Xmas, and it's
Yeah.
kind of more of like a satirical song.
Yeah.
Right.
And I did that, but little did I know, Lux had that in like a small blip of this
Yes.
mix that she had.
Right.
That was mostly just
But-
Kim Petras with Christmas bells in it.
I don't
Yes.
really remember what it was. But
was.
it was the same song, and she was not happy that I did it. And I was like, you don't own that song, Lux.
And you fought about it?
We fought about it.
Did you make up? Did your relationship ever
No, they
recover?
haven't talked since.
No, that trust me, we recovered from that. It was great. It was a good recovery. We made out. We
yeah.
swapped spit.
Y'all two met each other first, way before I knew either of you.
Yeah, Dagan. So, Dagan Michelle, the legend,
Me.
the icon.
Me.
We used to do show choir in high school. It was like around the Glee days. Let's just say we both grew up in Missouri in very
Yes.
conservative areas. And
Like, I played a boy in show choir. Period.
Right.
and
She did too.
the first and the first
Definitely.
time I remember seeing you was at a show choir competition, and it was like around the award ceremony
Yes.
part of the show choir competition.
Which is almost like an intermission.
And it was literally always like your
My
high
show.
school versus my
Yes,
high
yes.
school for like first or second place. That's how it
Yes.
always was. So
Yes.
it was kind of like a rivalry thing, but like, and she would
Yeah.
go up on those little, like before the awards started, they would have just like music playing and people would be like dancing in the audience. She
Yeah.
would go up on the stage.
Yeah.
And she had these white pair of ripped jeans that had neon
Yes.
neon splatter paint.
Spot
Great
on.
story. Yeah.
And that is how I know her, because she wore those to like.
And your school
most-
called her?
splatter paint pants. That's
Right.
what we called
Spot
her.
on pants girl.
Because we didn't know her name, you know. But
Right.
she was a good time. She was up there having
Right.
fun dancing. And then when I got to Springfield for college,
Yes.
I go to Martha's, one of like the only gay bars in
Yeah.
Springfield.
Yeah.
And this is back when Martha's had a stripper pole. And you, I don't think you ever
Never.
entered
I
there.
never saw the stripper
No.
pole.
And you weren't there with the mirrors on the back?
Never
No.
saw the mirror. Only in videos.
Okay, well, I was dancing. You know, I was pretty
Vibing,
new to queer
yeah.
nightlife because I had never really been to any gay club before
Right.
until college. And I saw Dagan Michelle. She was wearing a blue dress. It was like like a skin tight material. She was dancing
Horror
around.
dress.
Bodycon.
Oh, bodycon the house down, but like fashionable before it was a thing.
Yes.
Literally, dancing on this pole.
Period.
Looking at herself in the mirror, and obviously people paying attention to her because she is just an icon and like a superstar.
Yeah.
And so
I wasn't even booked, not to interrupt you, but I wasn't even
Yeah.
booked. I wasn't even booked, and I was literally like at intermissions of shows or anything. I was literally going up on stage and making more money than anyone in the show, and I wasn't even booked. And that's how people started to know me.
Well, Dagan has always had this confidence.
You were the intermission tip spot girl.
Yes, which is like if somebody did that now, like if somebody did that at my drag show, I'd be like, get her the fuck out of here.
But drag was different
Like,
then. Drag
right.
in our community.
It was way more
It
cutthroat.
was different.
Way more cutthroat.
But anyway, Dagan's confidence always really spoke to me. And
So you weren't friends though. You just knew of each other.
We knew of each other because in show choir,
Oh my God.
we were literally in high
You
school.
have to tell the
So
story.
we're in high school. We're at a show choir competition, like at her high
having
school.
lunch, of course.
Yeah, like having lunch, and like you're eating whatever. Because basically, what happens, if for those of you that don't know, at a show choir
We could do a whole
competition,
podcast episode on show
yeah,
choir.
at a show choir competition, it's literally like 7 a.m. to like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Of choirs just going all day long, all day long. And basically what you can do is
sounds
you
like a
can
dance
watch. Yes, it's amazing. I love it. I would go today. I would literally go watch a high
very
school
similar to
show choir production right now. I love that shit. But literally you're just sitting in on watching other choirs all day long. So yeah, you like go eat, like you're in somebody else's high school. And I see this bitch walking down this fucking hallway holding some girl's hand, and I literally clocked her immediately. I was like, huh. So she has these fucking long ass legs, gazelle over here, and I literally walked right up to her like I am.
Have you spoken?
No,
point,
no,
no.
we had never. And unlike the girlies on TikTok that are self-diagnosing with BPD, I'm actually BPD. I actually have it diagnosed. So, you know, there's this thing called like you're overconfident. Okay, well, very overconfident. Like would walk up to the Incredible Hulk and be like, rip me in half and I'm not going to die. So I literally walk up to Daya, the Incredible Hulk, this big scary man. No, but I literally walk up to Daya and I'm like, walk for me. And it's like this,
like holding my
it's this like
girlfriend
group
at the
of,
time's
it's this
hands.
group of straight people and Daya Betty, pre-Daya Betty. And I was like, walk for me. I'm going to mimic your walk.
All she said to me, first words out of her mouth.
Walk
I
for
ever
me.
met her, walk for me.
So what does she do? She walks for me.
Walk for me.
And then I literally mimic her walk, and then I just walk the fuck off.
She makes it way gayer than I actually
Yes,
was
yes.
walking.
She called you a faggot.
Yeah, I was.
Without calling
Yes,
me
I was
out.
basically like, I want your girlfriend and all of your little straight friends. I want them all to know this is how she walks, and you need to walk away.
Yeah.
So I walked away.
But I didn't think of it as
No,
that.
no.
And I think it's funny now that
Yes.
now that I
Yes.
really know you.
And then basically,
We're basically being
the
a
full
kind
circle
team.
moment.
It's amazing.
Yes. The full circle. The full
very
circle.
Dagan.
The full circle moment though was meeting each other at the gay bar in.
And she's being like, yeah, you are gay. See, I told you. Like, literally, it's the conversation we had.
I remember walking up to Daya and we just like looked at each other and we were like, oh yeah, we know each other. And then literally we bonded because we had talked to the same person. Like
Oh, that's true. In high school. But yeah, that was a roundabout story of how me and Dagan met.
I love it. I love
Yes.
like I'm unforgettable is what Daya Betty is saying. Dagan Michelle is unforgettable. You heard it here.
Because
Which is very
I consider
little.
you both my drag sisters, but in my brain, I think of Jimmy as like my younger drag
it.
sister.
Yeah.
Like I'm definitely the older
100%.
sister, and then I think of Dagan not as necessarily my sister, but as like a cool aunt. And
ages me.
bigger sister.
You know, like the privileged family that adopts a foster kid out of sympathy from church, and I'm that kid, but I'm older, and you're like expected to listen to me and like take advice from me, and then we like
that
vibe.
lady. She's just lived in the backyard for the past 10 years. So
We
she's
brought her inside.
and now
Yeah.
you just have to answer her questions.
And then you're like, wow, she's kind of sickening, but she's like smoking cigarettes in the house. Get her out.
Jimmy, the way that we all met. Well, I know. Obviously, it was through drag, but I remember the first time I met you was through a mutual friend that we had. And
yeah?
a mutual friend.
A mutual friend.
Mutual friend that I
mutual
lived with
FWB.
for a short moment in time, and he had you over as he was hosting an evening.
He
Yeah,
was
he was
hosting.
hosting.
He was hosting.
He was hosting
Yeah.
an evening with you, and you at the time had worked at Panera. I don't know if we can drop names, but
Panera Bread.
Right. I was a Panera girl.
Or St. Louis Bread Company.
And whenever
Originally.
this mutual acquaintance of ours told me that you were coming over and that you worked at Panera and asked if we wanted anything from the bakery, baby, I was like, yeah, I want a bagel, I want a chocolate chip cookie.
I brought it.
And Jimmy brought it.
She
to
pulled
me.
up.
I hit multiple times.
Yes.
Well, like twice.
And after she did that, without even knowing me, and like really, she wasn't there to hang out with me, obviously.
Right.
But like we did, for some reason, like our mutual friend had us sit down and chat.
Okay, but do you think that was the universe's way of us actually eventually becoming?
I think
we have outlasted.
I think
the amount.
our friendship was like meant to happen, and it was
Yes.
like the unit. Like
Right.
It's like people that you're meant to be friends with. You're like magnets.
It wasn't even drag.
No.
Same with
no.
Dagan.
Well,
Right.
okay, and now I will say I actually knew of you before that, and I
Oh,
didn't.
baby,
even,
everybody.
I didn't. Well, I didn't even make the connection that you were this person until later. But a couple months earlier, this guy that I was interested in, we were hanging out, and I thought that we had, like, I thought that we were doing a thing, like, we were, but he was like, you know,
Right.
a shady guy. And he showed me the account of someone that he was interested in, and I'm like, this is so weird that you're telling me that you're into someone else, but it was you.
Huh?
Yes, and so
Wait, I
and
don't
so
know this story.
So I knew. So
I do not know this story. Wait, our mutual friend did this?
no, this is someone. This is a different person.
But I know.
Can we say the
You
name
know
and
this
edit it
person.
out?
Who is it?
Oof.
Yes.
But my
That's
first thought.
Yes.
Jimmy
I was
with
like,
a redhead?
who is
No
this?
way.
Who
And
is
you know
this?
what?
Who
At
is
the
this
time-
Anastasia, thick brick black
Bitch, my Kit
Your
Kat eyebrows.
eyebrows back in the day were
Okay,
crazy.
you're
And
gonna-
all I could
they
see,
were crazy.
All I could see was your tiny little Instagram profile picture because
And you
were
could see my
private,
eyebrow.
and I saw that fucking eyebrow.
Yeah,
and I
bitch.
remember being like, fuck this.
And
whore.
girl,
Baby, that was literally like probably my freshman year.
But then I met
Oh,
you.
let's not age us.
And then when I actually met
college.
you, like, I don't remember if I had already met you in drag or what, but I met you in drag. I went to my first drag show ever,
Okay.
and with mutual friends. So they were friends. I don't know if they were friends with your boyfriend,
Okay.
or but they.
Which you also tried hitting up on Grindr once, right?
No, Tinder.
Okay.
Classy.
talked on Tinder.
Okay, Grindr can be classy.
Well,
Not if you're trans.
but then we ended up meeting in person,
Girl.
like when you were in drag. And looking back now at the pictures of you that night, woof.
Crazy.
Whoa.
Crazy.
However, at the time I was like, wow.
Weren't you getting ready at AVBS with her makeup?
But then, okay,
Do you remember
but then
that?
this is the important.
Period.
This is the important piece.
That was way after
Well,
that.
I stayed home from a debate tournament one weekend,
Okay.
and I watched a Miss Fame makeup tutorial, and I made.
should watch it again.
I made a drag. I made a drag account, and I posted my first picture. And Lux and Daya both commented and then messaged me to come and hang out
They were like, you need
and
help.
like get ready with you
Yes, at
And-
Lex's apartment on campus.
on
Yes.
campus. Yes, that was
Oh
that
my
was
God.
truly hoarded.
I'm not even
Bless,
kidding.
Lux's heart.
Honestly, I have some of the best memories of my
Mental
time in
Amazing memories.
Springfield in that specific
And that
apartment.
insane.
Can I just read
apartment.
Lux? Can I just do it?
Read her. It's in love.
I love her so much. That fucking sink in her bathroom. I don't know how anyone got ready in that bathroom. I never got ready there. I was always the girl getting ready
See,
at
I was-
Crystal's.
My favorite was
I
I was always getting ready at Crystal's, or I was getting ready like at Nathan's apartment.
You weren't ever at Lex's. It was
No.
me, Daya, and Lux.
You couldn't use the sink though because there was cereal in there that had hardened.
Also, she never would let you use her washcloth.
I wonder why.
Like, because I would always wash my face before
This
I
is
would,
so
you know, like
shady.
before I would shave and stuff. I'd always
We
wash
need to
it with
call her
warm water.
and get her on here.
But she would be like, I don't have a washcloth that you can use. I only have one, and it's mine. No, yeah, but I'm like, we're here doing our makeup. Why don't I have a washcloth? And she was like, no, we don't have washcloths. Sorry.
Well,
I was like, okay, Lex.
If you know Lux, though, she's
you would always get ready in the clean bathroom, and that
I would
that
use
belonged to
Nora's
her
bathroom.
roommates.
Yeah, her roommate's
And then it wasn't
bathroom.
Nora's, but you still used it.
As well as some of her makeup. and a necklace. I think I
yes,
used
you
her
mean-
lipstick one. I for sure used her lipstick once.
Is she just now finding out about? Like, does she know about this?
I'm sure she knows. She's
Hey,
not
Nora,
stupid.
Daya.
It had like fucking Cody.
I mean, and I would ask Nora
into
for
it.
everything. Nora literally took care of me at some point.
She took care of everybody.
Like Nora, I have noticed, especially now as an adult living away from Springfield and doing drag as my full time career, the things I used to despise about Springfield, or the things that used to drive me fucking crazy, are the things that I actually cherish a lot. And
Name one.
about Springfield specifically,
that you thought you hated, but you miss now.
I like that I'm a little white trash. Like, okay, because I grew up on a farm basically when I was
rural.
younger. But like,
Hold on.
being from that type of place is fine. I just didn't. I didn't feel I didn't feel connected to it because I knew I was different. You know, I knew I was different.
Yeah,
I
I
knew
know
I
what
was
you
in a
mean.
place where I didn't feel like I belonged.
We were
fully.
made to feel different.
Right, but now that I am living in like a super populous city and there's like tons of people and everyone expresses themselves and stuff.
Yes.
I kind of see myself reverting back to like
The things that you
grabbing a
hated.
flannel. Like
Yeah.
literally, I wear flannels nonstop and a Bass Pro. Like
Yeah.
I do things that like I would probably not be doing if I lived in Missouri because
Right.
I'd be wanting to rebel against Missouri.
Yeah.
And now I find
But
myself
it's your
being
piece
like,
of home in this
Fully.
instance. It's your piece of
or
home.
like when someone says Bass Pro Shops to me, I'm like, oh my god, you love Bass Pro? I love Bass
if
Pro.
you didn't know, I mean, well,
I don't
I
love
don't know that
Bass
we
Pro.
love
Right.
Bass Pro, but
I
like
don't.
as a cultural, so we in Springfield, Missouri, they call it. That's where Bass Pro was founded, and they
Isn't
call,
it the original Bass Pro?
It's the original Bass
shop?
Pro.
Yeah.
It used to be actually out of a liquor store that is next door to the big Bass Pro. The Bass Pro
Brown
now.
Derby.
It is like
Yeah.
it is gigantic. It's like a huge outdoor store, but now
Yeah.
it's also like a museum and
Yeah.
an aquarium,
Yeah.
and they have. It's like it was voted the best. Attraction in the United States multiple times. It's
Yeah.
huge.
It's really
and they call
cool.
it the granddaddy of all Bass Pros.
Yeah.
I
The
don't
eighth
like
wonder
that
of the
term.
world.
That weirds me out.
Granddaddy?
I don't like that. I
But
don't
it's
like
very Missouri. It's very
Missouri.
It's very Bible Belt.
Which,
Granddaddy.
which I don't know. You guys have lived here in Chicago now for what, 6 months almost?
Roughly, yeah.
Do you find yourself being like, oh, I really wish I could go to Druff's for dinner tonight?
No, I will say like as politically, it was getting so
Scary.
stifling.
Yes.
And even just like, yeah, it was just getting like a little bit scary. And as we've left, it's got even worse. I feel safer in Chicago than I do in Springfield, though.
100%.
100%.
And I tell people this. I learned how to stand up for myself in Springfield.
Oh, yeah.
Within all of the difficulties that are living in a place like that, we found so much joy and
my gosh.
happiness and community. We made friends that we're still friends with through a pandemic, through moving. Like,
Totally.
some of us are across the country. Like, we will be, and even like
Yeah.
people who weren't drag queens but like came to get dusted that we
Yes.
still keep in touch with, because we were really a community, and it was
Yeah.
like, you know, the folks that came up, like it was like you wanted to see the people who came every time.
I think what's really cool.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
I haven't been back to Springfield for about a year probably now at this point, and I remember back before I was on the show and I had moved to Chicago and I would come back, like there were still people that I would go out on a Friday night and I would run into, and now like a lot of those people have moved to either like St. Louis or out of the state completely. And it is really cool whenever I was doing a show in, I think, Denver, and someone that would come to Get Dusted literally came and was like supporting me and taking photos and was like, this is so crazy because our lives are so different now. And it's like the coolest thing ever, because it really was a sense of community, because Springfield needed that kind of surge of queerness.
Specifically when it happened, yeah.
Specifically when it happened, and I think it happened.
It was so underground, which it was meant to be.
It happened in the time period that it happened in for a reason. And don't get us wrong, there have been queens that have been in Springfield for a long time keeping, there is a solid staple community there before we were there, and there is a solid staple community after we're there. We're speaking specifically about the time when we lived there.
There was a surge in drag
Yeah.
where there were a lot of new drag performers all at one time.
Right.
There was a surge in like drag venues and
Yes.
different types of shows.
Well, and I know we've brought this up before. Even though we all did drag a lot at the same time, like in my brain, Dagan is from a different era, if you will. Dagan's drag still comes from a different era than my drag.
Yes,
and then
for sure.
Jimmy, your drag, also comes from a different era than my drag.
Yeah.
But somehow all of our perspectives warped together, and like with the other girls and like all the other queens at the time, and Crystal and Lux, and like it all worked so perfectly.
I think what was really inspiring is
It
that
did.
everybody was really going after their own greatest vision. Everybody was doing their own thing, and that's what inspired me about Get Dusted. The people outside of Get Dusted, they would probably say that we all looked the same, because they would always say that they get us confused. I think that was just being shady, honestly.
of course.
This is a show, Get Dusted. It happened at the Outland Ballroom.
And that's what I want to talk about specifically, is the space it was in wasn't a gay bar. It was kind of like, in my head, it was more of like a music venue.
Yeah, it was literally a rock venue.
It's a little rock
was a
venue, but there was like a
dive
dive bar in the basement.
was the
The
big-
dressing
that was the
room,
girls'
the
stuff.
dressing room upstairs had at the time an air conditioner that was a window unit, and it like
Broken, didn't work,
didn't work half the time,
that shit up.
or you had to unplug it to plug in like your straightener, Dagan. But it was so fun. Like I didn't even care. It was so
One
fun.
little busted lamp.
And like drawings of penises.
Yeah,
and
well,
like signatures. And
Anyone that's
stickers,
ever performed there had
old
signed
pictures on the
it.
wall.
Yes,
Literally a green room.
So they were painted yellow, and then they had like signatures and art and graffiti all
Yeah,
over them.
Stickers, merch.
There was this old leather couch that just had holes in it.
People had been having sex on it.
Oh my God, Ron Jeremy
Jeremy.
had sex
When we were
on that
trying to
couch.
get,
Yeah.
literally, okay.
At Fake It.
Not even gonna name it.
Fake it.
Fake it.
Yeah.
At this fake it.
Can we just talk?
Night.
Hear me
That
out.
was
My
crazy.
favorite part of this venue.
I won. I
I
won
love the
that
outfit.
competition that night that Ron Jeremy was there. I won that competition.
Let's be honest. My playlist was booked at Get
For the-
Dusted.
the opening
Like
act
there
for
were
Get
so many
Dusted.
people like that we got to work with, like
Well,
cool
because
people.
Get Dusted was a unique show that had musical acts
Yes.
opening.
But then
for a drag
randomly,
show.
Okay.
Ron Jeremy would get booked, and literally this night he locks himself in our dressing room in the
that we
green
just
room
described.
with a woman, and for like an hour they're fucking in this green
Yeah,
room.
wouldn't come on
And
stage
then,
when
like-
he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then like 6 months later, that's when he got
got
arrested,
arrested
for
assault.
sexual assault.
Well,
One of my favorite things is going back to me realizing how much impact Springfield actually has had on me. Like, remember when the first time we worked with Brooke Candy? I didn't
was
even.
that the night that nobody showed up?
No. That was I think that was Kansas City. But
No, there was a Springfield show with Brooke Candy that
the first time we had her, it was lit AF.
we had her twice.
And-
Performed in the Thursday night show.
Well, that's because we had like 3 days with her.
Yes, that was like when there were 3 shows in a row.
Yeah.
And so the first one on a Thursday night, which don't do a drag show on a Thursday night in Springfield in 2018.
Right. People are going to work at 8 a.m. the next morning. I didn't even know who Brooke Candy was.
So
then.
this was me,
This
you,
was-
Lux, Crystal,
Johan. And they brought Brooke Candy.
Yes.
And I didn't know who it was. And you specifically, Dagan, were like, oh, I think you'd actually really like her music. And now,
love
like, she's
Brooke.
one of my muses. Like,
Yes.
she's one of the people that inspire me the most. And I
You guys
wouldn't
also,
have-
like-
I wouldn't have known
you
about
guys
her
love each other.
if it were, I
You know
love
each
Brooke
other.
Candy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Brooke
Brooke.
Candy fag mom.
But like, I wouldn't have known her if
love
it weren't
Brooke.
for Springfield.
No, literally.
Like, I would have
We
had
did
no
that.
idea.
Well, you got to work with all kinds of crazy people because Get Dusted was booking lots of like Springfield didn't have a lot of drag acts coming through, and Get Dusted would book drag queens, but it was never like whoever was current. Y'all would book like
Tammy Brown.
the McQueen and Tammy Brown.
Literally.
Oh,
It's iconic. They're
why
Pearl.
not? They're iconic.
Pearl as Roxanne.
Pearl
As Roxanne. No, that never
Pearl
happened.
came a few times.
We
Yeah.
love Pearl.
Pearl came a few times.
We love Pearl.
But I also think, even past that show, when that was happening and there was this kind of like surge in
Us starting a drag
nightlife,
brunch. Us starting a drag bingo.
Yeah, like it kind of had a domino effect throughout the entire community, and you started seeing things.
What is a place in Springfield that you miss?
A place in Springfield that I miss. There's a lot.
related or not.
Okay, well, there's a lot of places actually. Like, I loved a Come and Go. There was that Rapid Roberts. Come and Go on the corner of National and Chestnut.
Yes.
You know the one.
Yes.
Oh yes.
They had those.
It's across from the
roller-
Arvis.
They had those rollers that would have like hot dogs and stuff. But
Yes.
I swear to Jesus, they had the best taquito wraps.
Yes. The tornadoes.
And I miss those so much.
Yes.
Those were like my late night snack
like
with
the
mustard.
taquito.
Okay, one place that I do miss, and this is whenever drag was getting really popular, and we were buying our stuff on Amazon.com.
Amazon stuff.
Lots of priming happening.
So not a lot of things were to be found in Springfield.
Yeah, you could get some 301s, because I remember 301s were kind of hard to find on Amazon at the time.
And that's all you had to have if you were not doing drag if you didn't.
Yeah, at the time, you had to have a 301, at least cut up and put onto a baby lash, at least.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was a place called Holiday Hair.
Holiday hair. Marnie Ray
they
Holiday.
had 301s, they had wigs, they had fun, different wigs, they had
Yes.
braiding hair, like literally anything.
Yeah.
And they also had accessories, like earrings. Also, like, we didn't have a lot of access to places to get drag, so I spent a lot of time at the mall. I worked at that mall. I love you. I worked in the Payless. I love you. But I worked in the Payless, and that's where I got like my first pair of heels. It was next to a Macy's across from a Bath and Body
Serious
Works.
question. You got your first pair of drag shoes there. How?
They were a pair of black little tiny chunk boots.
Christian Siriano.
Christian, it might have been like Brash, the brand Brash.
Or soda.
Probably, I don't remember.
Rocket
soda.
Dog.
I do remember Brash or the kangaroo shoes.
Yes.
And oh, girl, I remember practicing my, I choreographed it with show choir, 8 counts, and I did it in those little block booties,
No.
and I did that for a long time.
You still kind of give show choir dancing.
Well, come to the Vegas show, find out.
Okay, but can we talk about my first pair?
I will be dancing like a showgirl, honey.
My first pair of shoes came from the Red Racks,
Oh, I
which
love
Red
Red
Racks
Racks.
was like the OG, and they were like a little like cage heel, but they were orthopedic, and I wore the fuck out of those.
The ones?
Yes, the ones.
The ones.
The ones, and they literally looked like a little elf booty, but they were like had slits in them where you could see my foot for years, and literally the fucking like the little thing on the heel, the stopper,
off.
they were orthopedic.
I know you didn't have to tell me.
That's like a Mistress Isabel Brooks
That could have been
heel.
just your dirty little secret, Oh my God, one of my all my jewels are falling off my shirt.
Cheap.
Period.
It is us from the future, and we talked for so long that this ended up becoming a 2-part episode. So this is the end of the first part. If you want to hear the rest of our conversation, tune in next week where we're going to release the next part.
Same day, same time.
Same day, same time. You can see us
Beautiful.
at the same place. You can follow me at Jimmy Anti. That's JIMMYANTI.
I'm so glad you can spell.
You can follow me at Dagan Michelle. That's DaegenMichelle. You
already follow this girl, so you can give your thumbs a break really quick from following me and Dagan. But tell us anyway, where can we follow you?
Daya Betty, Daya, and then Betty like your grandma.
Period. Okay, so tune in next week to hear the rest of our conversation. We said a lot of shady things.
Ooh, us being shady?